as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it.
How's it going? This is Josh with End Credits, and we have Abel over here.
Everybody.
We just saw Resident Evil.
I thought it was a really great movie of sorts.
I'm just over here like, this movie's dumb.
Well, I mean, some of the original characters weren't in there, so that kind of threw it off. But all in all, the movie itself was actually pretty good as far as the CGI effects, all that great stuff. Not so much following the story, but they kind of pulled in the audience as much as they could, I think.
Oh yeah, they didn't follow that story like at all. They spend the first 5 minutes of this movie retconning everything that they possibly can, and like from the first like 4 or 5 films. So like all the stuff that like if you built up yourself from like the first Resident Evil to like the sixth one, you're gonna be like, what's happening? Why is this changing? What's the point of this? Why the fuck am I here? So there's a lot of moments where if you're following the story, I don't know why, it's a Resident Evil movie, you don't follow it for the story, but if you're looking like if your brain's even switched on a little bit, you're gonna be like, what the fuck is happening?
So, in other words, this movie's not for the educated. It's more for the we don't give a fuck. It's we bypass everything, and there's the whole movie. But like Josh said, the final chapter, as they put it, does not not follow anything as far as the Resident Evil series. So, I mean, if you're looking for a good film to watch, it's a really great film to watch. But as far as following the story, I don't expect too much from that part.
It's one of those, like, I'm kind of torn on whether or not to, like, say to watch this movie, because it is most certainly a bad movie.
It is not a bad movie.
It's a bad movie.
It's only a bad movie in your sense, or your eyes, because it doesn't follow a lot of logic.
Yeah, like it doesn't follow any like, look, I'm all for you changing up like narrative pace and character development and traditional like CGI storytelling and traditional action. You just have to fucking replace it with something.
What?
Like,
to be honest, the entire series reminds me of The Mummy, where like in the last series they replaced like the mother, and she's now this totally complete new character, as well as a new person, and everybody's just like, okay, we're just gonna accept this because it's normal. To be honest, and every now in days in movies and whatnot, it is normal to actually follow something that's not even coherently with what the story's going along with.
Well, I mean, like it's common that they do that, but like even in like Fast and Furious movies, they at least are like, you remember that time we did this thing, guys? They're like, yeah, I remember that time. Like characters completely forget shit. Like it's characters that from the last movie where it ended, they're like, I don't know what happened. They're just dead. I'm assuming they just died. They just got hit by a bus.
What is it? Oh, that reminds me a lot of a series. What is it called? Oh, yes. Walking Dead, where one of the characters is always cut off or killed off no matter what it is or how awesome they are.
Oh, yeah. Like where but that's different because they at least show you that person dies. Like they at least go through they're like, look at the pain of this person that you cared about. And I know Resident Evil movies don't give a shit about the Resident Evil characters. They're like Leon Kennedy in name and look only. Or like Ada Wong because she wears a cocktail dress, shit like that.
The cocktail dress did a number.
Quick spoiler alert. Albert Wesker went out like a bitch in this movie.
Wow.
Look, I gotta say that like right off the bat. Like I'm not gonna say how he goes, but he goes out like a bitch. We all knew it's the final chapter. All right, Wesker was gonna fucking die in this movie, but he went out like a bitch.
Okay, I'm gonna have to agree with him on this. Well, the only reason why is because he had some of the abilities. Well, I want to say the enhanced abilities of Alice, and for some reason or another, he just went out like a bitch. I'm sorry, a bitch. I don't.
This is the best way to put it. Like he just went out like. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's just wrap it up. All right, so you're gonna recommend the movie.
I recommend the movie. If you want to go see a really good movie as far as CGI effects, and if you're a really good fan of the Resident Evil movies, you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, I guess if you're a fan of the Resident Evil movies, you're probably gonna like this movie. Because I assume that at this point you just don't give a shit about the story, like at all.
We just threw it out the window.
But like, it's one of those things where like me watching it as like a non-fan, like someone who's just coming into the series and seeing it, it's very much the type of movie that is like, it's, for lack of a better way of describing it, it's kind of like you have like a beautiful, like you meet a beautiful woman and you go on a date with her. She's like dressed beautifully, she seems cool, but then like she keeps dropping just awful turds all around the dining room table.
Oh my god,
like,
that sounds like my last Tinder date.
It's so bad. Like it's just, but it's the type of bad that kind of puts a smile on my face. Like it's the type of bad that like I can sit back and I can watch this and laugh at it. Whereas other movies, I can't do that. So I can at least say, hey, if you want to watch this movie because it's so bad it's funny, go for it. Otherwise, if you legitimately super like this movie, if for more, like you're like, oh, the story is amazing and the character development's amazing, the acting's amazing. Acting's not amazing. Acting's not amazing.
Phenomenal.
It's so bad.
So
like,
awesome.
like I'm not gonna put it in my like list of shit films for twats, which is just where I put all terrible movies.
Twats?
That like shit films for twats. I'm not gonna put it there, but I am gonna put it in the like shit films you should probably watch and laugh and drink with. Because if you're not drunk, you're totally gonna be like, man, my brain hates every second of this shit.
Oh my god, your life is so horrible. What is wrong with you?
Well, that was the first episode of End Credits. How did I feel, right?
It was. Go watch it. You'll be happy. You'll be alright.
Be drunk when you watch it. Be drunk when you watch this shit. Be drunk, and you'll be all like, man, that shit exploded and it was awesome.
There you go. Explosions. Explosions.
All right.
Bye.